You know, sometimes you just want to cut through all the noise and get straight to what really matters.
Exactly.
And today, we're diving into a result that definitely got people talking.
Oh, wait, yeah.
19-year-old Jakub Mensik beating Novak Djokovic at the Miami Open final.
I mean...
That's a big deal.
Huge, yeah.
So how did this relatively unknown player pull off such a massive upset against one of the best to ever do it?
Right.
Well, we've been digging into the analyses, and we're here to break down the strategies and the context behind this surprise win.
Absolutely. It's fascinating stuff.
So let's jump right in. Where do we even begin with a result like this?
Well, I think the main thing that jumps out from all the articles and summaries we've looked at is just how well Mensik executed his game plan.
Okay, so game plan. That's a good starting point.
Right.
What were the key elements that led to Mensik's victory?
Well, everyone's talking about his serve.
Yeah, the serve.
And for good reason. He had 14 aces in the match.
14 aces against Djokovic.
I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah.
It's not just the number of aces, though. It's how he used his serve to dictate the points.
Right.
Djokovic is known as one of the best returners in the game.
Yeah.
But Mensik constantly put him on the defensive.
And the report said Djokovic was only able to break Mensik's serve once?
Yeah, just once. That kind of pressure against a player like Djokovic is remarkable.
You almost never see that.
It's really something.
So it wasn't just the power of the serve, it was the strategy behind it.
Exactly. It was about using it to control the flow of the game.
Okay, so dominant serve check. What else was working for Mensik?
Well, the reports also highlight his aggression right from the start.
Oh, yeah, he broke Djokovic's serve early in the first set.
Right away. It was huge. Not just for the scoreline, but for the mental aspect, too.
I see what you mean. A young player like that going up against his idol in a final.
Right.
That kind of early break must have been a massive confidence boost.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it probably put a bit of doubt in Djokovic's mind, too.
Yeah, you don't expect to get broken early by someone you're expected to beat.
Exactly. It sets a different tone for the match.
So we've got the dominant serve, the early aggression. Anything else stand out to you?
Well, both sets went to tiebreaks.
Right.
And Mensik won both of them.
Talk about a pressure cooker.
Tiebreaks are so unpredictable.
Definitely.
But Mensik really stepped up. He got off to a flying start in that first set tiebreak.
Yeah, he was up 5-0 at one point.
That's not luck. That's about being able to deliver under pressure.
And he did it again in the second set tiebreak.
Composed beyond his years, you could say.
It's one thing to have the skills, but to be able to execute them in those crucial moments is something else.
It really is. That mental side of things is so important, especially at that level.
Speaking of mental strength, think about the circumstances of this match. You're 19 years old, playing against your idol in a major final.
Huge pressure.
And then you have this 6-hour rain delay?
Oh, yeah, I completely forgot about that.
6 hours. That's enough to throw anyone off their game.
You would think so.
Yeah.
But Mensik didn't let it affect him.
The reports really emphasized his ability to stay focused throughout the delay and then come back out and perform at that same high level.
It's a testament to his mental toughness and his preparation.
And that's something you don't always see in someone so young.
Definitely. It's impressive.
Now let's shift gears for a minute and talk about Djokovic.
Okay.
He obviously wasn't at his best, but he seemed to handle the defeat pretty well.
Yeah, he was very gracious in his post-match interview.
I mean, he even said that Mensik was one of the very few players that I would be happier to lose to.
That's high praise coming from Djokovic.
It is. It really shows how much respect he has for Mensik's game.
And maybe a bit of acknowledgement that there's a new generation coming through.
It's interesting because Djokovic specifically pointed to Mensik's serve and his mental strength as the key factors in the match.
Yeah, he's seen it all. He's played against the best. So when he highlights those aspects of Mensik's game, you know, it's significant.
And it wasn't just a one-off observation either. Apparently, Djokovic has been following Mensik's development for a while.
Yeah, he even invited Mensik to train with him a few years ago.
That's pretty incredible. When a top player like Djokovic sees that kind of potential in someone that young, it says a lot.
Absolutely. It's like he was mentoring him in a way.
So this wasn't just a random upset. This was a young player fulfilling his potential.
Right. He was ready for this moment.
Now, Djokovic did mention that he wasn't feeling his best. He called it a weird day and said he was dealing with some fatigue and an eye issue.
Oh, wow.
It's important to acknowledge that without taking anything away from Mensik's achievement, though.
Of course. It's always part of the context.
Even the best players have off days.
Yeah, and tennis is such a demanding sport, both physically and mentally.
The long season, lots of travel, different conditions.
Exactly. So yeah, Djokovic may not have been at 100%, but that doesn't diminish Mensik's win.
He still had to go out there and execute his game plan.
And he did it brilliantly.
So let's talk a bit more about Jakub Mensik himself, 19 years old from Czechia.
It feels like we're witnessing the emergence of a major talent.
This Miami Open title is his first ATP title, right?
Yeah, first, and what a way to get it.
We've got some background information on him. He was born in Prostějov. His father was an amateur tennis player, and his mother was a teacher.
Classic tennis upbringing.
Sounds like it. Prostějov has produced quite a few top players over the years.
Right. It's got a strong tennis culture.
So he was exposed to the sport from a young age?
And it seems like he had a good support system, too. With his dad being involved in tennis, he probably had some early guidance.
And he's also said that he looked up to Tomas Berdych growing up.
Another Czech tennis star. That must have been inspiring for him.
Having that kind of role model can make a big difference.
Yeah, someone to aspire to.
And his junior career was impressive, too. He reached number 2 in the world and made it to the final of the Australian Open junior event.
Yeah, he was clearly a standout even at the junior level.
And for listeners who aren't as familiar with the tennis tour structure, can you quickly explain the junior level?
Sure. So the junior level is for players under 18. It's kind of like the stepping stone to the professional tour.
So you're saying that success at the junior level is often a good indicator of future potential?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It shows that you have the talent and the competitiveness to succeed at a high level.
And Mensik definitely proved himself there.
Yeah, he was one of the top juniors in the world.
So he turned pro in 2022 and started making his way up the ranks. He's won several titles on the ITF and Challenger circuits.
That's right. He's been steadily climbing the ladder.
Can you explain those circuits for us?
Yeah, so the ITF circuit is kind of the entry level for professional tennis. Wow. It's where players start earning ranking points and gaining experience.
Got it.
Then you have the ATP Challenger Tour, which is a step up in competition. The prize money is higher, the points are more valuable, and you're playing against tougher opponents.
So it's like the proving round for players who are trying to break into the main ATP Tour.
Exactly. And Mensik was very successful at that level. He won his first ATP Challenger title in Prague last year.
Which makes sense when you consider that he made it to the third round of the U.S. Open in 2023.
Right. That was his Grand Slam debut.
And a pretty impressive one at that.
Definitely. It showed that he could compete with the best players in the world.
And then just before Miami, he reached his first ATP Tour final in Qatar.
So he was building momentum coming into this tournament.
It wasn't just a fluke. He'd been knocking on the door.
He's ready to take that next step.
And he did it in style, beating players like Jack Draper and Taylor Fritz on his way to the final.
Those are top players. Those weren't easy wins.
He earned his spot in the final and then to beat Djokovic in straight sets.
Both sets going to tiebreaks.
It's remarkable, that mental strength we keep talking about.
And it was on full display.
So let's break down his playing style a bit. He's got a really powerful serve. We've talked about that.
Yeah, he can hit it over 130 miles per hour.
That's fast.
It's a weapon. It allows him to win a lot of free points and put his opponents on the back foot immediately.
And he's also an aggressive baseliner.
Yeah, he likes to dictate the points. He hits the ball deep and with a lot of pace.
And he uses his height well.
Oh, yeah. He's 6'4", so he's got a lot of leverage on his shots.
It's a very modern style of tennis.
It is. It's all about power and aggression.
And it's clearly working for him.
It's effective.
This win was huge for Mensik in so many ways. It's his first ATP title. It makes him one of the youngest ever to win a Masters 1000 event.
And he denied Djokovic his 100th title.
You can't write a better story than that.
It's a fairy tale.
It's got to be inspiring for other young players, seeing someone their age achieving this kind of success.
It shows what's possible. It shows that you can beat the best in the world.
And it's not just about talent either. It's about hard work, dedication, and the right mindset.
Absolutely. And Mensik seems to have all of that. He's also been praised for his humility and his grounded personality.
That's always nice to hear.
Yeah, it seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders.
Yeah.
He's also very close to his family.
And he's spoken about how important their support has been throughout his career.
That kind of support system is invaluable, especially in a demanding sport like tennis.
Now, before we wrap up, we have to talk about that rain delay.
Oh, yeah, the 6-hour rain delay.
We have to wonder how much of an impact that had on the match.
It's hard to say for sure, but it definitely would have disrupted both players' routines.
Especially for Djokovic.
Yeah, he's known for being very meticulous in his preparation.
He likes to have everything just right.
And a 6-hour delay would have thrown all of that off.
It probably contributed to his fatigue and the eye issue he was having.
It's possible. But on the other hand, you could argue that the delay actually helped Mensik.
How so?
Well, maybe it took some of the pressure off. He was the underdog anyway, so maybe he was able to relax a bit during the break and come back out with a fresh perspective.
Whereas Djokovic might have been feeling the weight of expectation.
It's an interesting thought. It's hard to know for sure how the delay affected each player,
Yeah.
but it was definitely a factor in the match.
So just to bring it all full circle, Mensik's victory was a combination of factors.
His aggression, his mental toughness, his ability to handle the pressure.
And Djokovic, while not at his best, still recognized the brilliance of Mensik's performance.
He was full of praise for him.
It was a historic win, the second youngest Miami Open champion ever.
And he did it by beating his childhood idol.
What a story. It makes you think, what's next for Mensik?
Where does he go from here?
Can he build on this success?
Can he challenge for more titles?
And what about the future of men's tennis?
Is this a changing of the guard?
Are we going to see more young players like Mensik rising to the top?
It's an exciting time for the sport, that's for sure.
Lots of questions, lots of possibilities. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. It's been a fascinating discussion.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure.
We'll see you next time for another deep dive into the world of tennis.
Sounds good.